Okay. The question is, there are different stages of mind. In particular, what is this subconscious mind from Patanjali's terminology? Because in meditation, generally we struggle with this conscious, subconscious mind. That keeps throwing something at us.
Hmm.
So I would like to show you a slide which I have shown in the previous occasions also probably, that will help me explain the concept of mind that has been put forth by Kapil, his predecessor. And that is what is the Vedic concept of mind. And that is what is being followed by Patanjali also. So here we will concentrate only on the blue boxes. This in the circle this is me. I just made it as TCs saying tiny consciousness. So we are a point like tiny entity. The concept it is enveloped in a fist like this. So the central part is me, and that envelope surrounding me is my mind. Now, what we call mind is an aggregate thing, and it has three components or units. The technical terms chosen by Kapil, who is author of Sankhya, he is predecessor of Patanjali. He uses the terms like buddhi, the second is ahankar, and third is manas. The English translation is respectively, this is intellect, this is where I think and conclude something. So this is conscious application of mind. When I say I am consciously thinking, this is where the thinking operations are taking place. This is my Stoyer's device. Coming back to me, I have three extraordinary powers, namely to know what is a piece of knowledge and to experience that event that gives rise to joy and pain, feeling. And then I have the power to act upon my surroundings. So, knowledge, feeling, and action. These are my three extraordinary powers. But of my own self, I cannot exercise them. I need the instruments of mind and then the whole body to exercise these powers. And mind are definitely playing a role in all these functions. So when a knowledge comes in from five sensory organs, one at a time it is picked up by this linking device and it is sent inward, the signal, and this being the Stoyer's device, it makes a copy of anything that is going through here or there. Anything that passes through this, it makes a copy of it for future reference. So incoming knowledge is copied here and then is projected here. So this is kind of my laptop computer screen, which I am always watching. This is my inner TV, so to say. And then I get to know what has been brought by these five sensory signals. And then I make sense out of it. I decide something, what should be my action. So that decision making is also thinking, conscious thinking, and is taking place here. And once I have decided how to respond to the changes in my circumstances, then I relay my command here. Then that action command is going here, activating this, and then this linking device activates my motor organs. So that way, knowledge and actions keep on happening. And knowledge, when it comes here, once in a while, not always. This is at my discretion. There is a more detail here. But let me just make it quite brief here. When the knowledge appeared here, I could almost embrace it, as if embracing it. If I embrace it, then it becomes my feeling experience. Just like I can hear the TV news, or sometimes I can become part of that. Is it not? Then my tears are flowing down. Somebody is, the TV anchor man is saying something, and I just take it so much personally that I become part of the event. So that is a slightly more intricate phenomenon. But what I'm trying to say, if knowledge is only up to here, it is knowledge. If I have embraced it, then it becomes my experience. And then I take a decision and I act upon it. I give a command to my mind and it goes down to my body organs, motor organs. Then that is my action. Now, this red arrow is bigger than this blue arrow because knowledge signal go one at a time, not five signals. If five signals are coming, one will go, then the next one, then the next one. But of course, at this point, like you may be feeling, you are seeing as well as hearing me. That happens because this is very fast. This linking, this linkage is scanning all these five ports in rapid succession, and sending in one at a time. But it is sending in the visual signal as well as sound signal in rapid succession, and they appear here. So you get a feeling because all this is very intricate and very, very fast, maybe even faster than the speed of light. So you have a feeling you are seeing and hearing together. But remember, it is one at a time. Now, when it comes to action mode, this can be multitasking. You can walk as well as change bags from one hand to another and speak also. So, three functions happening simultaneously. Now, how does it happen simultaneously? Because action finally is emanating from here. So, we have discussed three things: knowledge, experience, and action. Now, action is decided here. Decided here. Listen to this very carefully. Action is decided here. It begins to be taken from here. But once it has been triggered, this thing has been triggered, then the routine functions which has been delegated to mind are ongoing in nature and they are taken care of by this unit. This is very important to understand. For example, I am sitting on a chair. If I decide to rise and pick up my phone from a distance, that I am doing consciously here. Because I am very conscious. I am being viewed by so many listeners, and I don't want to rise just like that and spoil the session, is it not? But if there is a very some strange kind of a demand, I may do that. I may even rise it. But that decision will be taken very consciously. But once I decide to go to a distance, the first step I am taking very consciously. Then walking those many steps are happening subconsciously because my signature of walking, how do I walk? Everybody has his own signatures. All these are stored here because I've been walking for many years, is it not? So the decision to begin to walk is taken here, is conveyed here by that simple arrow, thin arrow, and then it is taken care of by this device which has the programs. How do I walk? How do I write? How do I speak? All the routine functions have been delegated here. Okay, so any action mode. So, the answer here is knowledge has been, this is the terminus point for the knowledge. Knowledge signal terminates here, and then I cannot say I did not see you, I did not hear you, because once the signal has come here, I am aware of it. The experience, the bhog part, joy and pain, that has to end up here. Even if it terminates here, I haven't experienced anything, is it not? I was very detached. I saw something, but just like I am watching an evening news. I just heard it, but I didn't get affected by that news. If I get affected by, then I have allowed it to fall upon myself. So these are very, very complex issues, but one has to understand it to know the intricacy of how we function in day-to-day life. And if you know how we function, then in meditation practice, you can probably, make a better progress because you know how your mind functions. Now, the action part, yes, action gets initiated here. So you have to take full responsibility of your action because this is where the decision making took place. But then the continuation of action is happening by this unit, and these functions are called subconscious functions. So, subconsciously, I may put my hand in my pocket and bring out a pen or something. So, subconsciously, there are certain things somebody is doing. When you brush your teeth, you take a brush. Of course, when you pick up a brush, you are doing consciously. But then brushing your teeth is happening subconsciously. You might be thinking something, is it not? So, thinking operation is here, but your hands are brushing your teeth, is it not? So we are functioning in a very complex manner throughout. Now, let us concentrate on this part. This has the potential to work at its full potential as my intellectual faculty and think and conclude something, discriminatory ability, decision making. But sometimes, and even when I am using it as that, say I enter into a room and I see a chair for the first time. As I conclude this is a chair and not a desk or table or anything, in that tiny moment, these are just milliseconds. A lot of data is coming from my memory of previous images of chairs and tables and desks. And I compare this particular data signal. And then I compare, no, this is not a desk, this is not a table, this is not a stool, this is not a bench, this is a chair. So in that process, this is not only functioning, a lot of data is being exchanged in between. And there is a particular name for this unit when it fetches data from the storage device. That is that Patanjali gives it a name. Patanjali gives it a name called Chitta. So listen to this carefully. Chitta is not an independent unit. This is within the buddhi, this component, there is an implicit function that it fetches data from the storage device, and that particular operation is called that of chitta. Chitta is within a part and parcel of buddhi, but when it is bringing in data from the storage device for its discriminatory ability to come to a conclusion, that particular function is called that of chitta now. Okay, so now today I was doing a meditation session. I say we want to get away from thoughtfulness to thoughtlessness. What I meant that conscious functioning of buddhi should be dissipated. So buddhi is no more functioning and exercising its discriminatory ability or decision-making process, is it not? But its implicit process, what it does is bringing in a lot of things from the storage device and displaying it for me. That keeps on happening. That keeps on happening. So that function, when thoughts have been diminished, still something appears here, then we don't say I am functioning consciously. Then subconsciously, now this device is called a chitta. It is not working at its full potential. It is not working at its top gear. but it is nevertheless working in a way, it's like an engine is working in idling mode. Though the same engine would run the vehicle at a high speed, 100 kilometer per hour. But now you have stopped at a traffic light, the engine is running idling, which has potential to go at very full power, is it not? So in meditation practice, when it has ceased all its conscious thinking operation, then we say it is not functioning as buddhi, now it is functioning as chitta. Hmm? When some haphazard, some things are brought in from my storage device. So Patanjali is saying yoga is chitta vetti niyodha, So if I were to go to another, just to show you the, yoga darshan philosophy. Yeah. So this is Patanjali Yoga Darshan. So you are familiar with this very first two statements. It begins with Atha Yoga Anusasana. The next is Yogas Chitta Vetti Yoga. So he is referring to Chitta Vetti is whatever is state and function, like my eyes are supposed to see, ears are supposed to hear. That is its Vetti, that is its business, regular business. Somehow nature's design, it does it. So what does Chitta do? Chitta is just fetching data from the storage device. That is Chitta Vetti. Niyodha is to subdue it. So if I subdue whatever transpires on my Chitta, I have achieved yoga, is it not? So he is not using the term Buddhi Vetti. If it was Buddhi Vetti, that is conscious function of that same instrument. So that way I have tried to explain to you what your question was, that subconsciously many things are happening. Of course, they are not out of blues. All that is in your own storage device, and this is Chitta function as a to remind you of such. Like at this point you are attending this session, but something may come in your mind. Look, you have to write an email to somebody. So who is, you are very much in this session, but once in a while a flash comes. Somebody is reminding you, that is your personal secretary, your mind. So these are the operations of your chitta. Because if chitta didn't remind you, you may miss a commitment, you may miss something, is it not? So out of blue, you are engaged in something and there is some kind of a reminder or some sort of a image coming in. So chitta is functioning as a subconscious mind. In sleep also, it is like dreams. And in meditation also, these are, because our objective is to be in meditation, so these are, we will say, unwanted things. And we want to dissipate them. That is what is the business of yoga, is chitta vritti niyodha, to subdue those, to dissipate these functioning of chitta. And another thing is, when we are walking, say I am driving a car and I receive a phone call, I have a provision that I don't have to apply my hands on phone. So I am talking to my friend on phone and yet I am driving the car. Now consciously I am talking to my friend on phone and subconsciously I am driving the car, is it not? Because in my storage device, I have programmed the whole business of driving a car over last 10, 20, 50, 30 years. So I have delegated driving to my storage device. So my storage device, that Ahankar, is now driving the car, and I am very much consciously discussing something on my phone, is it? So subconscious thing may happen. It's happening day to day life, is it not? But also it is happening in dreams and is also in meditation practice. Okay, that takes care of the question that was asked. Any other question?
If you have time, I just said, just for record purpose, something that the key question I asked last time was, uh, how do how does one know that he's really progressing in yoga? And
Oh,
we to record, so it remains with us for always.
very good question, relevant question. The question here is now, how do we know we are on the right path, and what are the landmarks that we expect on the correct path? So, if you pick up a map, you see you are at point A, you want to go to point B, and then there are certain landmarks. If you see those landmarks, you get assured that I am on the right path. So this is what is. In meditation, we say that destination is a state of mind which is we are all familiar with. So what is that? When I am in deep, dreamless sleep, nothing is happening in my mind, and that's what is I want to gain state of that mind in meditation. It is a very ideal state, and beginner will take several days and weeks, maybe even some years to reach that state, no problem. But if he knows what are the landmarks, then it is very helpful to them. So as we have discussed just now, that my conscious operations of my mind and all other things uh, subconscious and conscious operations of our mind, etc., etc. We want to say that there are three basic landmarks for a practical practitioner. One is picking up the ownership of my mind. That is the very first desirable thing, because for a common man, this me and my mind have become one. So my mind is like me for a common man. And now he is struggling to bring my mind kind of a calm state. And if he has an idea that my mind is me, as if that itself is my consciousness, then there is a slight kind of a riddle. How do I bring my mind to a calm state? It is relatively easy with the body. I sit on a chair and I tell my body, you stay like this for 5-10 minutes. Body obeys my command, and that makes me feel confident. I am the owner of my body because it obeys my command. But that same thing you want to have with your mind. So when you learn meditation, okay, get away from thoughts, and if there is some sort of a progress in that thing, and also in the later stages of meditation, then you get one confidence that yes, me and my mind are slightly different. And it obeys my command. So what will happen then? First thing is, I will say, it slightly becomes easier for you to go to sleep now, because in meditation, if you can make your mind relatively inactive, that is what sleep is in the night time. In night, you want to retire to bed, and you want your mind to be relaxed, become inactive. And in sleep, in a good quality sleep, if there are no dreams, mind is thoroughly inactive. Even if you have dreams, that is half sleep, okay, but that is better than no sleep at all. You at least have slight control over your mind. You are not doing conscious thinking, but of course, subconsciously, some dreams are there. So, meditation practice will translate into it will be easier to go into sleep, and maybe, hopefully, quality of sleep will improve. And then, quality of sleep improve, then we tell our students that, now if your quality of sleep is better, what relaxation came to you, rest you got in 8 hours sleep, now you may get in 7 hours sleep. So you will be gaining 1 hour, is it not? So your practice of what you were investing in meditation practice 20 minutes a day, now you get return 1 hour a day. And not only the sleep is better, other landmark is even in daytime, because anything you do is with application of mind, and now you are you have gained some ownership of your mind, so there are less distractions. So quality of your work will be better, and also it will take less time for you to complete a given task. So this is a very first kind of landmark you will see on the journey to meditation. Now that you and your mind are slightly detached, different, there is a distance. Now this is a second part of the second phase, I will call it. Second phase of your meditation practice. Now there is a distance between you and me. So say I will call it now intermediate stage. So you have crossed the beginner stage, now you are in intermediate stage. Now there are, I will say, multiple benefits here. Here now, anything that is brought to you by your mind, you don't doesn't automatically affect you, because now there is a distance. So a lot of things happen in the world in day-to-day life, you know, and somebody says some stupid things to you, and previously you got affected, but now you have a level of maturity, you are less affected by them. The same things happening, unwanted events in the world, because nobody has control over all the events in the world. So many unwanted things will happen in our life. But now, with this distance, you are less affected by them. That is a great empowerment. And not only that, now this is a secondary aspect. When your meditation practice gets better, you will see that your mind is changing. Certain transformations are taking place. Indeed, that is what makes meditation one notch above sleep. In sleep, even in the best quality sleep, the person A goes into sleep and emerges the same person A. You are fresh, but your personality is same, is it not? Your personality traits are same. But now here, your personality, as if the nature is trying to, that storage device I just showed you in the previous question, where a lot of things, even unwanted stuff is lying in our mind. They are washed. That is a very powerful thing happening in meditation. So that washing and servicing of your mind, we know how to wash and body. And in the sleep, your body is detoxified, but mind is not detoxified. In meditation, your mind is detoxified and washed out. And then you will see changes in your own self. Your stress level is diminishing. You used to get angry, but now the same provocations, same threshold, your threshold has increased. You can absorb too many things without reacting to the world, is it not? So this is, I will call it as intermediate level. And then comes a third level. At third level, as if something is added on, or I will say, now you are really disconnect from your mind. That is what Chittavritti Nirodh was. You are in the Ashtanga Yoga, the eighth stage you are in. Now your mind is empty, blank. Sometimes a flash of new idea may appear there. That's how scientists and philosophers come up with new brilliant ideas, which they never read in a book, never heard from anybody. That's how new things come in our mind. When the mind is fresh and empty. Emptiness is very important, blank mind. And it should be in a good composition, is it not? If you are disturbed, then doesn't make sense. So that is the highest state of yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Then yoga means union. You are united with that infinite consciousness. Now that consciousness may give you knowledge, and if it gives you, it is what is needed by you, what is most relevant to you. And it may give you an experience that we call as anand, that is different from the worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasures, as I said, you have embraced what was on your mind. So something, so joy and pain is brought to you by mind. Now this is out of mind. So this is a something. So, what is brought to us by mind has both sides of the spectrum, joy as well as pain, peace of mind as well as restlessness of mind, sukh and dukh, shanti, ashanti, etc. But that's why we have a peculiar term, ananda, which doesn't have a negative counterpart. So you have that feeling. And also, that gives you a lot of inner energy. And when you have a lot of inner energy, you are in a giving mode. So now your actions are also always in giving. You don't expect anything in it. That is what is a devata. Devata is always giving. So, from knowledge point of view, you have a high degree of knowledge, which is a flash coming to you. Experience wise, now you are beyond this sukha and shanti, you are in ananda. And from action point of view, you are so much filled with energy, you are just giving, like a young mother is just giving to her child, doesn't get tired. So that is devata. So action wise. So your knowledge, experience, and action, all three are at the very highest level. So this is a journey. So these are the broad landmarks I can describe to you. Next question, if you have any. Well, the question is, Chit has the uh, business to remind what is in our storage device, and it does it many times. Even when sometimes you go to sleep, you express your desire or your willpower that I want to wake up at 5. And indeed, there are occasions when you wake up at 5 in the morning, as if your secretary did it at the right time. But then there are other sides, that is, we call it as forgetfulness, that we seem to remember somebody's name or place or something or about an event, and we struggle very hard, and we know it, that I knew it. It was in my memory, but then I failed to retrieve the right information. Somehow chit is failing, or storage device is not, that information has faded away or what. So, this is of course, this, if I were to take to that Sankhya diagram again, which we noticed, this is where all the past knowledge, past experience, and past actions and their impressions are stored. So the general term here is called sanskar. But past knowledge is called smriti. Past experience, like I had a cup of coffee, say 2 weeks ago, and I remember the taste of that. That has been stored here. That is called as vasana. And past actions, like I am going to a driving school. Every day I am driving, learning how to drive it. Very consciously I am doing it at that point. And that repeated practice over several months and years, they also left an impression here. That is called sanskar. So their past knowledge is called smriti, past experience is called vasana, past action is called sanskar, and sometimes the word sanskar is used for this whole family. So this is a general term for three in one, so to say. Anyway, these are technical terms, but all that is there. But as we know it, even though things are stored, it is not that they are always preserved. So there is a there is a nature's gift, so to say, if you call it gift, that is forgetfulness. So forgetfulness is also a nature's gift. Nature's gift is this stoics device, and along with an ability to forget, if something has not been used for a length of time, then that data is allowed to fade away, is it not?
Okay.
And that is also for our good. Otherwise, just imagine if we knew what happened in my past life, or if I knew everything what happened to me in this whole life, there's a lot of unwanted stuff also, is it not? So forgetfulness is also a gift of us. So it just we need to balance it, you know. And something I have forgotten, I should admit it, no problem. I can try to recall it or find some other references. Maybe I have a photograph in my album or something can, or a friend of mine who was present there. There are ways to, if there is an important piece of information and I am unable to recall it, then there are ways and means to do that. Otherwise, we should accept that forgetfulness is a positive gift to us. And of course, there are many good things that I would not like to forget. There are many good pieces of knowledge I would like to preserve. Then there is a, meditation will should help you, because meditation helps this whole instrument function in a very natural, nice manner. So uh, you will see in the previous question, as we discussed, meditation helps us gain many, many benefits. This should also be one benefit, that your memory will become better. What otherwise was failing you many occasions, you will see that now your memory helps you on those critical occasions to a greater extent. Thank you. That was very good question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's see if there is any other question. There is a very good question. The question is, if somebody does not follow the rituals and sanskars, in the Vedic paradigm, there are 16 ritualistic events in an individual's life, right from conceiving to the last rites, that is called Antyeshti. So Garbhadhan is the very first, and Antyeshti, when the separation of body and me, and the disposal of the dead body, that somebody else does, because I am no more in this world. Somebody else will do on my behalf how to. That is my last. So there are 16 total. So the question is, if suppose I have not followed all of them properly, in a, there is a kind of according to the guidelines, then will this have any impact, and how and where will affect in life? Very good question. Let us understand one key aspect here. This ritual, let's say Garbhadhan, which is the union of my mother and father, biological union, so that my mother conceived me, is it not? That's where my life started. Otherwise, I was in my father's body, me and my mind, all that enveloped together. But that had to be transported into my mother's body, in my mother's womb, where the physical body layers are formed. Then I become an individual human being. Then I come out of her body after, say, it's just 280 days. So in our literature, it is called as 10 months, because it is 10 lunar months. And if you talk about solar months, then it is 9 months and 10 days. So anyway, so uh, now that is a, now in our literature, that is a ritual, and for good reason. For good reason, the young man, young woman, husband and wife, they come together, they do certain things, say one Agnihotra and certain, they recite certain mantras, where they are mentally transporting themselves to. Look, we got married, now we're going to have a child. So you are mentally prepare yourself. And then a few hours later, late in the evening, they do that biological union to make it happen, is it not? Now that we call as conceiving. Now that process of conceiving, for example, is there in everybody's case, in mine, yours, everybody's case. That's why we are in the world. But prior to that, that ritualistic, what is called Garbhadhan Sanskar, that somebody might have not done it or might have done it. So, these sanskar, what is called ritual sanskar, that was the question, has two aspects that has to be understood. One is the real karma, real action. The real action is conceiving, which is happening. So one could say, yes, for me, Garbhadan was done. Otherwise I would not have been conceived by my mother, is it not? So the ritual sanskar has, one is the ritualistic part and one is the main action part. So if main action has been done, we should presume that that ritual sanskar has been done, because the functionality of ritual sanskar is that main function, main action, is it not? So like Garbhadhan, of course the main thing was done. That's why I was conceived by my mother. Now, did my parents preface it? Was it preceded by that ritualistic thing or not? Is not that important. Not that important. Because the final action is the main thing, purpose. But why should I say, then why is it done? Why the ritual sanskar? That also have a meaning. Like in case of conceiving, if the husband and wife discuss it out and talk it out before conceiving, then they transport themselves to mentally to that stage where you welcome a new person in your family, is it not? Even if you buy a new sofa for your household, husband and wife will talk, will look at some catalogs, some kind of internet search, discuss it, visit a few stores, make some measurements, and is this the right color, right size, right thing that will make our household beautiful? Is it not comfortable sitting at all? So when you want to bring a new sofa into your household, you do a lot of preliminary exercise, preliminary, so that the end result is good. Now, when you want to bring a new life, a new member in your family, a new child, it is, of course, very much required, very much necessary that husband and wife talk it. This, you don't do impulse buying of a sofa. You should not, ideally speaking, bring a child impulsively, is it not? So, these sanskars have a meaning, but you have to take it in a proper manner. If certain sanskars were not performed, if your parents say that this we did not do, we did not do, say, namkaran for you. Namkaran is what? Naming. So that is also done in a ritualistic manner. But of course, they gave you a name, is it not? So the name, once they gave you a name, you have been, namkaran has been done. It might not have been done in that particular setting, in that particular manner, with an Agnihotra, guests were invited, some sort of a party, and one Purohit was there, all that. So, but if that is there, it is still better. If that ritualistic part was not done, you should not still be complaining. Your parents did what they could do best. You should have that faith in your parents. They did their best. Everybody has shortcomings. But of course, now that we are in that position, we should take away as many deficiencies as possible, make things better. So ritual sanskars have two meanings, like vivaha sanskar. So there is a Vedic vivaha sanskar that may take, if you do it very well, that may take 2 or 3 hours. I have also conducted a few of them, but nobody has this much time. They tell me, please do it in 1 hour, 45 minutes. So then we rush it. Of course, we take away a lot of components. These are compromises. And at the other end, one young man and woman may just go to a city office, just sign a piece of paper, and they just get married, is it not? They might not have done that vivaha sanskar. So in all these cases, they got married. That is, they have become husband and wife. But of course, if you do it in a Vedic vivaha sanskar, there is some message. You are taking some vows. The wife is taking some vows. And there are some attendees. They are also listening. They also get some inspiration. If they are already married, they have a time to review their own married life. If they are about to get married, they learn what married life is all about. So, it is a very good education process for everybody. So, ritual sanskar, to cut the story short, has two basic aspects. The main function, main action that has to be taken, which always is there. So, the other aspect is the related educative training, mental and intellectual food that you receive. Better it is, good, more it is, better it is. But even otherwise, don't take it as in that sanskar only I could have got the education. That associated education, like for example, for married life, there is every day you can gain that education. Even today, you can pick up a book on married life or in sanskar vidhi, and you educate yourself how I can be a better husband, better father, and things like that. So, education is not at that particular moment only when I was uh, going through the process of wedding. It can be happening later also. So just because your wedding was not conducted in a proper ritualistic form, that is not the end of the world. So there are two aspects, the main action part and the associated learning and education. Even if it is missed out on certain occasions, you can always supplement it later. Very good question. Thank you. We are almost close to the end. There are 5 more minutes. If